Hey everybody, Micah here. We're coming in hot with a bonus episode on Space Jam: A New Legacy. This is a Patreon unlocked episode. So last year we covered this movie and we actually covered the first movie as well because if you're unaware, at patreon.com/MICAHMCCAW, link in the show notes, you can listen to a bonus episode every month and listen to MPU the sequel where we cover movies that have only 2 entries in them. So, like I said, we did Space Jam. We did both movies last year. So if you want to hear the first movie, the good movie, sign up and scroll back and take a listen to that. Otherwise, sit back, relax, enjoy the extra episode. And next week, we will be jumping into Star Wars. And on May the 4th, May the 4th be with you, we'll be covering The Hidden Fortress on patreon.com, which is a movie that's one of the biggest inspirations for Star Wars. So, get ready for a lot of Star Wars and also Doctor Strange next month. All right, see ya. Hey everybody.
It's Patreon sequel.
It's MPU the sequel. And you can hear the distress in our voice. And I think
I'm not distressed.
I'm distressed.
Okay.
And it's because of Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Why are you distressed about it?
Because it was so uninteresting of a movie. It's like, it was so bad, it's almost not worth talking about, is how I kind of feel.
I think that this is going to make the top commercials of the commercial awards that they do every year.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah,
they still do that, right?
This was just an advertisement for HBO Max. I thought this morning, I thought this feels more like a high-budget Super Bowl commercial than it feels like a movie.
And it was.
It is so bad. I mean, just all the cards on the table. I don't like this movie at all. I really didn't like it. We watched it and we watched part of it at night, and then we watched the rest in the morning the next day.
We had to watch it last night. We're watching it until it's over, and it's going to be a little late past our bedtime. And then we got an hour in, and we're like, can we please finish it tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's not fun.
The weird part that I'm sure we're going to explore in this is, I mean, Space Jam 1, the plot is crazy. You can listen to our episode on it. It's a crazy movie. By all rights, it shouldn't work, right? But there's something kind of magic about it. But it's basically a commercial for Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, and the NBA. But this movie, takes only it's like this movie only takes the commercial aspect of that movie and really stresses the commercial, because this whole movie is just wow, look at all the wonder of Warner Brothers. Back in the day, they made Wizard of Oz. Ooh, have you seen The Mask? Ooh, here's a bunch of people who aren't the actors playing the villains in Batman.
Not only that, this movie made me feel old.
Yeah, hit that. What? Yeah.
A lot of what the movie was about was not funny to me, and I just thought, what is it funny to a kid? But they got really into algorithms and how video games work. And the last movie, Michael Jordan just got sucked into a hole at a golf course.
Yeah.
But this was servers, a serververse. It was complicated, which was, seeing the trailer, that's what I was nervous about, is they were gonna
this is
make
exactly
rules for
what
this.
I hoped that this movie wouldn't be.
I know.
And it was.
And so just listening to all this stuff that I don't really know anything about, it's just is this funny though, or clever?
No, I don't think people think it's clever, and I don't think it's I mean if you, here's the thing too. If you enjoyed it, I'm good for you. you know, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. And if you watch it with your kids and your kids enjoyed it, that's great too. But to me, I look at this and I'm like, is this a kids movie? Because we have like the characters from A Clockwork Orange showing up in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, the famous gang that hurts people very, very badly.
Yeah.
And they're just hanging out. They're cheering on the sidelines. We have Pennywise. Oh, yeah. What a great family-friendly hit Pennywise is. What? Oh, yeah. Mad Max. Kids probably cheered when they saw Mad Max in the theaters.
Maybe they did, though.
I don't know.
That's also how this movie felt, is I couldn't tell if this was who the movie was for, because Space Jam, the first one, is it's like 25 years old or something. So it's like, okay, if they feel the need to make a remake, if it's just like, should this be for us? Because we saw the first one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a kid's movie, so like just basically reboot it, but like, sequel. I just didn't know who the movie was for.
Yeah, no, so earlier this year, Warner Brothers came out with Tom and Jerry. And I was sort of excited about Tom and Jerry. I liked the idea of like hand-drawn animation stuff. I mean, it wasn't all hand-drawn, but like that idea of like 2D animation in our world and stuff like that. I think it was, well, no, it was 3D, but it was interesting animation. That's what I should say, because I'm not an expert on animation. And I was like, this will be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we turned it on, and we got like 5 minutes into the movie, and
I don't even know if we got 5 minutes. I don't think we got past the title credits.
It was very clear, like, oh, this is not, like, we won't enjoy this at all.
Yeah.
Even on like an artistic level. So we were able to turn it off. And this movie, like I don't think Tom and Jerry was good. I didn't watch it, but it was like, oh, this is like a 5 to 9-year-old demographic that they're shooting for. It's very apparent, so I don't need to worry about it. I just turned it off.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't thought about it since, really.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Because if it was like 5 or 9, I think we would sit here and we'd go, yeah, we didn't really like it, but I'm sure kids like it. But this is like just so confusing. Because, kids are still freaking out about The Matrix. 5 and 9-year-olds are just like, oh man, I love when they made references to Trinity.
Yeah, and only 5 and 9-year-olds are watching this, according to Micah.
Well, yeah. But it's like it doesn't do that thing as much crap as Shrek gets. We like that movie, and it works on a level of like, if you're a kid, you think it's funny, and if you're an adult, there are some adult jokes. But it's still like a cohesive story.
Yeah.
This is just like, it has no idea what this movie is.
Yeah.
So that's the front load of this. Now, I had a couple of things I wanted to share with you because I thought you might think these are funny. So, I follow quite a few people on Letterboxd, and there was just some funny stuff. David Ehrlich, film critic, he said, I liked the part where LeBron James' semi-fictional son effectively tried to help kill hundreds of innocent people by trapping them in NBA Jam forever. 1.5 stars.
What? They trapped people in there? They all disappeared. At the end, they all got sent back home.
No, but he effectively tried to help kill hundreds of innocent people.
Tried.
I hate when I do those
No,
quotes.
That was me.
And then David Sims said Notorious Pig is in this. 1.5 stars. Josiah, friend of the pod, he's probably listening to this. He said, and I love this, I thought it might be fun and self-aware, but besides a couple Looney Tune moments, I really just cringed a lot.
Yeah.
So you're right on that, Josiah. Let's talk about who made it.
Okay.
So it's
go through this as fast as you possibly can.
Okay. It's directed by Malcolm D. Lee, who made Night School and Girls Trip.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I won't even go. There are, is it 6 people who made the screenplay?
Too many people.
Yeah.
Too many cooks.
So we have Jewel Taylor, Tony Rettenmaier, Keenan Coogler, Terrence.
Is that Keenan?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's Kenan Thompson.
Oh, you're right.
Terrence Nance, Jesse Gordon, and Celeste Ballard. Cinematography is Salvatore Totino.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yeah, and that's
a cool name.
He did Spider-Man Homecoming, so we've talked about him. Chris Bowers did the music, and the movie came out July 12th, 2021, with a $150 million budget. And as of this recording, where we watched it the weekend it came out, it made $31 million domestic and $54 worldwide, which everyone was predicting this to be a flop, and it overtook Black Widow in Black Widow's second weekend.
I understand people expecting it to be a flop, but like movie theaters are still like newly back, and it's this middle of the summer, so I'm not surprised by how well it did money wise.
Yeah. So, and you
air
know,
conditioning.
As much
as the whole country, I'll speak for our country that we live in, is on fire.
Yeah.
Literally, or just with a bad heat wave. It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, Looney, it's something you kind of know, so you just go, yeah. I mean, it's 2 hours of relief from the
LeBron
heat.
James is in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were going to do a sequel with Joe Pytka, who is the director of Space Jam, but Michael Jordan didn't sign on. And then remember, they were going to do like the Jackie Chan Spy Jam, all those others. See our previous episode, but they never came to fruition. And then after they made they canceled all those to make Looney Tunes Back in Action with Brendan Fraser, and that movie flopped in 2003. And so it was kind of like,
I don't see how I couldn't have seen that movie, but I don't remember
see
it.
how I couldn't have either. I'm sure I have seen that movie.
Yeah, I just can't. Maybe if I saw a clip, it'll all come back.
I bet the same for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably on the wonderful Serververse app, HBO Max.
Yeah.
So then it's like, what are we supposed to do with the Looney Tunes? Like we have this great IP and we can't do anything with them. And then they finally start talking about Space Jam as well. And I remember them talking about, even as a kid, like in high school, I remember them being like, they're working on Space Jam 2 and they might do it with LeBron or.
Oh, wow. That far back? You remember that?
Yeah. Well, I remember them at least announcing Space Jam 2.
Huh.
I don't know when they started saying LeBron.
Yeah.
And then they go through like a bunch of directors, and then Ryan Coogler comes on as a producer. And I'm sad to say that he produced this movie because I love Ryan Coogler, and I think he's a great producer and a great director, but this is not good. And so then Terrence Nance is hired to direct the movie, and they start filming. A month into filming, he leaves the project for creative differences.
Who? The director?
Yeah, Terrence Nance. And that's when they hire this guy, Malcolm D. Lee. And LeBron got injured in his 2019 season, so while they were doing their 14-hour shooting days...
14 hours?
That was tough, and
why
he was
does he need to be there for 14 hours?
Get back into shape and stuff.
Isn't that not okay?
Oh, I think it's fine.
Oh, okay.
I think
he
they
probably
can
got
work
a
that
sweet
stuff.
trailer while he was there.
Yeah, but he had to, nurse his injury and get back into good health.
Yeah.
While filming 14-hour days and stuff. But that doesn't mean he's filming for 14 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
And
I know all that stuff takes way longer.
Yes.
Even the professionals, they show up that day and they're there longer than they expected. I feel.
Yeah. And then I just want to shout out that Tony Bancroft worked on the animation in this movie, and so did Spike Brandt, amongst many others.
Okay.
But that is the highlight of the movie. I mean, I do think the animation is wild. In this,
wild how? Like good?
Like it. I mean, if the movie was on mute or something, I'd be like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Because
I thought the effects were cool too, and I mean, like the set was. Like the basketball court was cool. I don't know. The thing is I do kind of like the whole like it's a video game kind of thing. I think that's a fun update.
Yeah.
But it's just so complicated.
Yeah.
In terms of people who are in this movie.
Yeah. Wow, you're going off the cuff.
We have King Kong, the Iron Giant, Penguin from Batman,
Mr. Freeze, played by someone who doesn't even look an inkling like Arnold.
It doesn't matter, Micah. They're extras.
No, I know,
Pennywise,
but it's distracting, isn't it?
Frost zombies in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
There's, like you said, monkeys from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. It was so funny watching the final sequence because I couldn't help it. I didn't watch the game. I was just looking at the background,
Yeah.
like the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just
How can you not?
It's just funny thinking. Oh man, it's just so hard to quantify what this movie makes me feel, because it's fun to see crossover stuff, but there's no purpose to any of it in this movie except for to showcase, like, did you see Voldemort? Did you?
Was he there?
I did see Voldemort at one point.
That's kinda cool.
I'm pretty sure.
It's not cool. Well, here's the thing.
Like, it
Here's
doesn't-
the Micah, I'm gonna have to ask you to let it go
Step off.
because this movie doesn't exist to me, and I'm not gonna get worked up over it. We'll see until we actually get into it. But the issue is, the Looney Tunes have been around for so long.
According
Decades.
to Notorious Pigs Rap, since 1935.
Since 1935.
Porky Pig.
They have continued to make people laugh generation after generation, including me. I grew up loving Looney Tunes, and they were one of my biggest inspirations for drawing.
Well,
And they're already so old at that point. Let me finish. And then Space Jam comes out, and they're continuing to be super funny. So then they want to make a Space Jam 2, and it's like, just keep it Looney Tunes. They're
Yeah.
funny. They continue to be funny. They continuously try to find ways to be funny.
yeah. But maybe the biggest problem of this movie is it's Space Jam. It's about Looney Tunes, and they're not really in the movie that much.
I know.
I mean, that's a big bummer.
Yep.
And so, but what I wanted to say, Looney Tunes wise, I hope we didn't say this in the last episode. I mean, we like Looney Tunes a lot. Remember when we were on a little vacation? We were in a cabin, and my dad flipped it to Looney Tunes.
We laughed for a long
like
time watching it.
a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we were losing it. And it was also very funny because some other people were there, and they were just stone-faced watching Looney Tunes while my dad, Jordan, and I were busting a gut, like crying, laughing. And my mom's also just sitting there quietly reading a book.
Yeah, it was funny.
It's funny stuff. So you don't want to go over any actors or anything.
What actors? I just went through all of them.
I love it. That's funny. That's a great bit. And also, it's not even really a bit. It's just true.
So this movie begins with a young LeBron who is, I think his mom's dropping him off for a game.
Yeah.
And they have a little moment where you learn that he's a hard worker, and this is his life, basketball, and this is the sacrifice he's had to make to get where he's at, which was just basketball. And they even illustrate this kid gives him a Game Boy, and he gets in trouble with it because it's like, LeBron, you got to focus.
Yeah, and the Game Boy gets thrown away.
Yes. And then we get the opening credits, which I thought were good.
I like the opening credits.
I think it's worth noting because even in the last movie, it's like, this is fun.
Yeah.
No Space Jam song,
Yeah, that's a mistake.
but whatever.
But
I mean, the music was still good. The soundtrack stuff they chose was good.
so one thing I would be curious what other people think about this too. But and I'm not much of a sports person. So there's part of that playing into it, but I just feel like when Michael Jordan shows up in Space Jam and it shows that sequence and everything, it's like, even though you know he's in it, you're like, no way. Like, Michael Jordan is in this. Michael Jordan.
Well, here's what I think about it.
And I think in this movie, it's just like, oh yeah, it's LeBron, one of
Well, this is what I think about
an
it.
NBA player.
When LeBron came to the NBA, it was massive. Drafted out of high school.
Right.
They don't do that anymore. I think you can't do that anymore.
Okay.
And he was, I think, among some of the last people who did it, which is like crazy to be drafted out of high school.
Yeah.
And very quickly in the NBA, people are like, this is the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he
That's
even said that, I think.
Well, yeah, but it's true, based on, I mean, I don't know like statistics or anything about him, just knowing his like magnitude as a basketball player. I will say, because I used to watch basketball when I played basketball.
Yeah.
So I don't anymore. But basketball is not fun to watch these days. I just gotta say. And maybe it's because I'm less interested in sports, but it just feels so slow and there are no stakes. Like everyone's just trying not to get injured. No one's really trying to win. That's how it feels.
They need to learn how to have fun while they play.
Well, that's true. But that's how it feels to me.
Yeah.
Every time I like see a game or part of a game. That being said, seeing anything live is so much fun.
Totally.
It's so worth it. But so when Michael Jordan was playing, I mean, he has perhaps the most prolific career as an athlete with the Chicago Bulls. And watch The Last Dance to get the whole inside scoop on how that all worked. But he was a basketball player in a time when basketball was so exciting. This was like no one has ever been as good as him. I know people that's subjective for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I mean,
if my dad listens to this episode, he's gonna tell you all the stats of Wilt Chamberlain.
Do not tell me about the stats of Wilt Chamberlain, please. But no one can deny that Michael Jordan is one of the most prolific basketball players to ever live. I will say, like, I'm sure people talk about this a lot. It's like fun to think of like, what would LeBron be like if he was playing during all those times?
Sure.
Could he do it? Or would he not be able to do it? I don't know enough about him to know that. All I know is the time that he is a basketball player, which is now, is not as exciting as when Michael Jordan was a basketball player. Yeah. And that's personal opinion about the NBA. Therefore, I don't care very much. I mean, like, I'm glad that they chose LeBron because he is the obvious choice in this movie. Yeah. And what's funny is, like, he's been in other movies, like, he's acted before, and I don't even think he's that terrible. I think he's having fun, which is fun. Yeah. But in terms of, like, even watching Space Jam and watching the opening credits of the first movie of Space Jam, you get, like, goosebumps watching Michael Jordan play basketball.
Yeah.
This, I don't feel it as much.
No.
And I think that's me thing. Maybe other people were like, oh, yeah, LeBron.
And I want to clarify my point. I understand that LeBron is one of the best ever. I do, but it just feels like in this movie when they like throw down the hammer and they're like, we got LeBron, it does not nearly have the impact of Michael Jordan.
No, I agree.
And that's why I really am attracted to the idea of if they had done their original thing, even if they were like, just pick like another athlete, another sport, someone that's currently, because even in this, you're like, well, what are they going to do? Play another basketball game? We've seen that.
Yeah.
And so now they're like, no, but this time it's cool because it's a video game.
There are stakes.
And I'm like, yeah, but I don't care about the video game.
I was really trying to like keep an open mind while I was watching this in terms of like the story of it, not the bogged down detail stuff. Because the premise is LeBron's son is more interested in video games, not basketball, but LeBron's pushing him to do basketball.
Yeah.
Kind of like that was me. I was pushed to do it, so I'm pushing my kids to do it, kind of thing. But that's the whole contention with his son, where his son is like, let me do what I want to do and like follow my dreams. So the movie is about him allowing his son to do what his son wants to do and like have fun. That's like the big thing, is having fun. I think that alone is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's like a good, simple story. It doesn't become simple because they just bog it down like crazy. But like in the first Space Jam, Michael Jordan gets sucked into a hole because the Looney Tunes need his help, and he helps them.
Yeah.
This one, LeBron needs the Looney Tunes to help him. But I mean, I know he like falls on their whatever world, but like, does that make sense?
Totally. But to speak to your point about the father-son relationship, usually I try to not like look up reviews and stuff before we do a podcast, but I couldn't resist on this one. And Dan Eden, a friend of ours, he had a very detailed letterbox, and I thought he said something very interesting. I think the fundamental mistake was not making the Looney Tunes the central characters and not pulling in LeBron James as a sort of savior to them. Also, pitting him against his son in that weird, convoluted way doesn't help. It's in service of a theme that doesn't need to be there, so it's an even larger fundamental screenplay issue.
I think it's weird. Sorry, I
Yeah.
know you're still reading. I think it is weird that he has to play against his son. That is weird. That doesn't make sense. If anything, it should have been they accidentally get sucked into this world, let's say because of the Looney Tunes, and his son gets wrapped up in it, and they have to work
Yeah.
together to help them, and that's when he learns to have fun. That like makes so much more sense
Yeah.
than
Yes.
than like his son being his actual enemy.
Well, and he says this too. He says, basically he says like LeBron has to learn and acknowledge that his own son is a different person with different interests. Yeah. That's what Dad says in his review.
Yeah, it's weird.
They're like, it's like he learns a basic thing that we all know about humans.
Well, it's also just weird because it's about like LeBron is the big character in this movie, and like he's kind of a sourpuss.
Yeah.
When like Michael Jordan goes into Looney Tune world and is like, "Whoa, this is crazy and scary," but I'm a Looney Tune now.
Yeah.
Physics don't apply to me anymore.
And it seems silly to even like compare the two movies. I don't know. It's just weird because this movie is I don't even know. It's just so strange.
It's whatever.
I think part of it is this that we have to acknowledge. As a podcast that explores film franchises, we like when people make a lot of movies, but that doesn't mean every movie should be a series. And I think this is a prime example of Space Jam 1 is just a lightning in a bottle, like cannot be recreated movie. It just works. It really shouldn't work. And
No.
it works. And so when you try to recreate a movie that shouldn't work, it produces a movie that doesn't
Well,
work.
it's like they're trying so hard to not make the same movie, and they didn't, and that's my issue with it is they didn't
Yeah.
make the same movie because that's personally what I wanted was just the same movie because I think I said this in the last episode. If Space Jam: A New Legacy doesn't have a laugh a minute, I'm out, and it
Yeah.
absolutely did not have a laugh a minute.
Well, and here's okay, so maybe because I haven't been keeping up with like Looney Tunes and watching like new Looney Tunes, this movie presents them as this. They exist to parody other things and they don't have their own jokes. Is that true of Looney Tunes right now? Do they just I don't think it is.
Wait, so why again when he goes to the Looney Tune world and Bugs is the only one there? Where are the other ones?
Well, because Al G Rhythm,
Yeah.
let's just take a moment and let's just all applaud the screenwriters for coming with Don Cheadle's character name, Al G Rhythm. Yeah, so Al G Rhythm makes them all move except Bugs.
Because he doesn't like them?
Well, I think it's because he wants you to know about this wonderful service Warner Brothers has called HBO Max.
Can we just get into this movie? So LeBron is at Warner Brothers Studios. What a wonderful drone shot of the studios. And they're trying to sell him on some movie or game. I can't remember. Sarah Silverman is in it for a second, and
Well-
Stephen Ewan is in it for a second. I gotta say, though, who did a really great job, Chris Davis, who plays LeBron's assistant, who's in Atlanta.
Performance of the movie.
Judas and the Black Messiah. He's in Blacklist, Detroit. He was great.
His name's Chris Davis?
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't watch Atlanta, you got to watch Atlanta.
Just watch
And-
Atlanta.
And he is in it, and he is so electric. It is,
Mhm.
I mean, he's electric in a series where like everyone is electric, and he still stands out. That's how good he is.
Also, it's just a really good show.
Oh, it's one of the best comedies.
Yeah.
It's one of the best shows that is
Yeah.
being made.
Worth your time.
What?
Worth your time.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, so Warner Brothers pitches to LeBron that LeBron James will be in all of their franchises.
I guess.
I really
wasn't
didn't-
really paying attention.
I didn't
But the whole
understand
thing
what
was
that scene was.
algorithm. Don Cheadle made it up because he's an algorithm,
Yeah.
and that was LeBron's. That was the breaking point. This thing made it, and I'm supposed to be in it? No. So he's out. His son's pissed. And then they go into the server room and get sucked into the server. And it's just like, this is boring. And they meet Don
Yeah,
Cheadle.
we're like
and I mean,
25 minutes in and we haven't even seen the Looney Tunes.
how much did Don Cheadle get paid? Not only that, though, I mean, like, he was trying so hard to have fun. He gave it his all.
I didn't like the character and I didn't like the existence of the character, but Don Cheadle did great in this movie. He did a great performance in a very bad movie.
Yeah.
Because he's just like going for it.
He is.
He never restrains.
So he basically shoots LeBron out, and he's floating between all the Warner Brothers worlds. He goes by the Casablanca planet because
and
a
the,
young audience will understand that
cheer.
reference. And then they go to the Game of Thrones one,
Once again,
the Harry Potter
kids
one, and then
Game of Thrones as well.
I said Game of Thrones and then Harry Potter, and then I think Wizard of Oz or something. And then he goes to Looney Tunes World, meets with Bugs, and is like, I guess I got to put a team together, and Bugs is going to help him.
And he also goes by Matrix because it's very funny.
He goes by, there are that's like
There's
one of the
just
most
a lot of Matrix in this.
Most of the references are like for Matrix, is what it feels like.
And you would almost think that like a movie that's about an algorithm, like they would be able to work in Matrix in a much more clever way, but they just don't.
I don't know. It's weird.
Because on the one hand, it's like when this movie begins, you're kind of like, is this? I mean, you know it's not going to go there, but is this like a warning about like social media and algorithms
Were
and stuff?
parents
And then it's
just
like, nah.
so pissed watching this movie, knowing that they would have to explain so much to their children once it was over, and just be like, okay, the rest of this summer, we're going to have to watch some other movies so you can understand this one.
Kids, all right. I know you guys are all under 10, but it's time to watch A Clockwork Orange. We'll follow it up with It.
Well, I doubt many people even saw them in the background. I think it's weird that they are included. Absolutely.
It's.
I don't think a kid's like, Dad, what are those guys in the white outfits doing?
Well, and you do know that there was probably a lot of people who were like, oh, to like everything they saw, you know?
Yeah.
Because even I started doing that because I was like, I mean, this is my entertainment at this point.
Yeah. So as they're trying to get a team together, they use, is it the Martian? What's his first name? Marty the Martian? Marvin the Martian?
Oh, Marvin, yeah.
They steal a spaceship to go to wrangle up the rest of the Toons, which are your usual suspects of Porky the Pig, Daffy Duck, the Grandma, Tweety, Sylvester, blah, 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 and Roadrunner, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Algorithm, I refuse to call him by the name.
Oh, you mean Algorithm?
But he is like basically stealing LeBron's son's algorithm.
Yes.
For the game, for the video game.
In a place that we've only mentioned a couple of times, but they say it about 2,000 times in the movie.
The Serververse.
The Serververse.
Yeah. So their team they put together is they have all the stats of all these really good basketball players that I don't know the names of. I recognize their faces. I think it's cool that they included WNBA players.
I like that.
I think that's great.
That was cool.
I don't feel like looking it up, but they're probably people you're thinking of right now. Some of the biggies. Okay, I'm sorry. Then they go to the game is like an hour long, and I was just like, at least the game's an hour long, because in the last movie it was really long too, and that was the best part of the movie.
Okay, so you're doing a wonderful job.
I'm just trying to blow through
stuff,
this thing,
but I do want to point out a few things. One, it's just funny because there's a scene where when Algorithm is stealing the algorithm from LeBron's son, he's like, "Oh, so you hung out with NBA players?"
Yeah.
And then it flashes back to him scanning WNBA players
and
NBA players.
Is that a real thing?
No, that's not real. And he's scanning them with his phone, and then he
it just feels like the kid has done no work.
But then so he scans them, and then it flashes back to the kid, and he's kind of looking at this guy, and he's like, "It was great."
Yeah. Very weird.
And
I gotta say, so they're going. The Looney Tunes are on basically in all of these movie properties.
Yeah, we have to talk about this sequence.
That made me laugh really hard for some reason. It just scratched an itch, I guess. Was Austin Powers when Elmer Fudd was the evil Austin. I can't remember the character name, but the guy in the silver suit played by Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Like I think he says mini me or something. I don't know. It made me laugh really hard for some reason. But there were a lot of others too.
Yeah, so when you laughed at that, I think I turned to you and said, "Wow."
I just was laughing really hard at that. But prior to that, Daffy Duck and Porky the Pig were in like a Justice League TV show.
They were in like the Metropolis.
Yeah.
I have to say, as much as I dislike the movie, it just was really cool, all the different styles of animation. And when it cut to like Gotham City / Metropolis, and there's like Batman and all this stuff, I was like, this is dumb, but it is really cool that it's like the old school animation of those characters. And that I really thought was very artistic. Like the art department and stuff, wow. Pat yourself on the back. You did some amazing things.
Yeah, I mean, but whenever they were in a live action thing, they were just reusing footage.
Yeah, which was odd.
But what else are they going to do?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, what they could do is not
do
them.
it. But if they felt like they had to.
I was like astounded when it showed Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, that one blew me away. I was like, I know this movie was huge. But why? I guess just that alone. This movie made so much money for them. Let's just do another promo for it.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I mean, I genuinely think so. This movie was slated to come out last year. I genuinely believe that like that sequence, they're like, oh, this would be fun to go through all the Warner Brothers property. But I think the executives at Warner Brothers are literally saying, we're about to come out with HBO Max and it's going to have all these things. This will excite people about our new app. I genuinely think that is in the conversation on the writing of this movie.
I think so too.
The one that did kind of get me though is when in Casablanca she says, you play it so well, Sam, or whatever, and it cuts to Yosemite Sam. I kind of liked that. It wasn't good.
I haven't,
but I kind of liked it. And Rick and Morty were in this.
Rick and Morty? So does Warner Brothers own Adult Swim?
I have no idea.
That was so confusing to me and so off-putting for some reason.
Well, yeah, it's odd to have them in it.
There was another one too that was crazy that I'm blanking on.
Batman, Game of Thrones. Oh, and then the Wonder Woman sequence.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Again, animation, cool. It was
presented
as a comic book.
Is there a Wonder Woman TV show, or is that just a choice?
There was,
but not like that.
Oh no, there was like the Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they have like in the same as like the Superman, animated shows and stuff. But
yeah, the animation was awesome.
I think they just used that. What am I trying to say? I think they just chose to present it in that format.
Okay.
But it was like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Lola is becoming an Amazon.
Well, and again, you got to think like Wonder Woman 1984 was supposed to come out around the same time as Space Jam.
Here's a question I have.
So maybe they were like, let's cross-promote.
I'm assuming most of the Looney Tunes are voiced by people who have voiced Looney Tunes before. Right?
I think it was pretty different from Space Jam, like the Space Jam voices, because like Billy West wasn't in the cast.
Who does he usually do?
I think he's Bugs Bunny.
Oh, I'm just curious why we needed Zendaya to be Lola. It's just why not just do? You already have everyone under the sun in this movie. Zendaya's not going to draw any more people.
I did think she was good. Actually.
I think she was good, but that was just a situation where it's like, shouldn't we have given a job to a voice actor?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying she did bad at all.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying because ever since we talked about this a lot in Shrek, but like ever since Aladdin and Robin Williams' powerhouse performance, like animated movies now are like what
actor can we get?
What actor can you get?
Which I get that puts butts in seats, but
yeah, but sometimes it's not as interesting of a choice, or that's why when we covered Shrek Forever After, we were so excited that the villain of that movie
was just a voice actor.
He was a voice actor,
and he was awesome.
And he was
not
great.
To say that like actors can not be good voice actors. That's not what we're saying. But I think that this was like on a podcast a long time ago. It was on Cash Levy's podcast where he was talking with a friend, but that his friend was a voice actor and his friend was
Oh, I remember this.
airing his frustrations on. He gets less work now
Yeah.
because they'd rather go with someone the audience knows.
One and I think the thing a lot of studios have forgotten in, the 20 years plus since Aladdin came out is Robin Williams provided a role to Genie that like someone else couldn't have done.
Uh-huh.
And so
Yeah.
it was kind of essential that he did it. If they were presenting him that way. But then it's like, oh, I don't know, you hire like Channing Tatum to voice a character in Littlefoot or that Bigfoot movie, Smallfoot.
Oh, I thought we were going to see that.
Yeah, and maybe it's good, and maybe he's good, but it's like, why do we need Channing Tatum to voice
Get
the
the moms
Abominable
in
Snowman?
seats.
Get someone from The Simpsons or something. Although, not that they need work, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so now we're at the game, and one thing when they're training, I just realized like a trope that I really don't like is when it's in kids movies when they play like a fun pop song while a bunch of zany montage stuff is happening.
Oh, I don't care for that either.
And it's just like, why are we not just playing like Looney Tunes music?
Or Space Jam.
Yeah. It's weird to me because it's like the Looney Tunes are wild and zany, so to have like this super safe pop song playing like underscores all the bits that they're doing.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I think so too. But I guess people who were on their phones before this game happened got sucked into their phone.
Into the serververse.
Into the serververse.
By Algae Rhythm.
And I like to think that because there were so many people in the audience, so many properties, and they kept cutting to like the 6 people that got sucked into their phones, including LeBron's family.
Yeah.
I just like to think there were only 6 other people, like 6 random people there with everyone else.
Yeah.
But not only that, a really famous sports broadcaster got sucked in that I forget the name of.
Yeah.
But it's like I know his voice, don't know his name. And then that other guy that I can't remember his name now. I'm being really lazy about this.
Yeah,
today.
the guy from Get Out and who hosted the Oscars.
Who was so funny.
Well,
Great. He was a good choice.
He was a good choice, yeah.
We were very much not enjoying the movie at that point, but very great that he got that part.
Now, one bit I thought was funny. I thought it was genuinely like the funniest bit of the movie is they're like at halftime and they go, "We have a secret weapon. We found Michael Jordan. He was in the audience."
Yeah.
And then the actor, Michael B. Jordan, walks out.
Yes.
And they really like take their time. So it's like, here we go. Here we go. And people may have problems with that. I don't know. But I thought that was very funny. And I like Michael B. Jordan enough that I'm like, cool.
That was a moment for me where I'm like, yes, I understand. That's very funny.
Yeah. On an algorithmic level, I understand the humor.
So they're not just playing basketball, they're playing LeBron's son's game, which means that it's all like one basket can be 100 points because of style points and all this stuff. So
yeah,
but
one does.
But it's just a really convoluted way of showing like the game is about having fun. So I get what they're trying to do, but they just complicated it like effing crazy.
Yeah.
Also, the Looney Tunes get animated and upgraded animation, so they're like 3D animated for like the rest of the movie.
I liked that.
I thought it was fine.
I thought they looked crazy cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always more fun when they're cartoon, but
yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna make it different than Space Jam 1, that's a change. That's like, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
no, that makes sense.
Making them more like CG characters.
So they don't stand a chance against the team that they're playing against. Just like the first movie, of course, they get like 1,000 points ahead. The second half was funnier than the first half because Looney Tunes got to finally have some fun and do some stuff where, like the grandma part was very funny to me. There was a funny Tasmanian devil twist by literally twisting the court. I guess that was funny.
Yeah. Multiplying the coyote, making the multiplier. That was fun.
That was funny. I think there was a funny Tweety Bird thing.
I think so as well.
But basically, they catch up. Don Cheadle's getting really mad and is yelling at his son. And it's just funny because like Don Cheadle's like the coach and he's yelling at LeBron's son. and LeBron's just like watching it happen and not really doing anything.
Yeah.
And eventually his son goes to LeBron's team and it's fine. They win. I'm really bored talking about this.
I was I'm sad to say that I did think it was funny when Porky Pig rapped. And I think that that's probably not good that I thought that was funny, but it did crack me up.
Hey, he got a lot of points off that.
Yeah, and he had a couple of lines where I was like, "Yeah, dude." Yeah. But then what's the there's just a couple more things. Oh yeah, so like at the end, Don Cheadle becomes like Superman or whatever, like Algae Rhythm, the Superman version. And he's
the King Kong version, because remember King Kong, the actual King Kong got mad.
Yes.
And crossed his arms and huffed.
and then LeBron like goes for the last dunk of the movie. And then he gets a boost from his son. Because this whole movie is determined to prove to us that video games are cool, okay? And yet,
well, I think that is for kids of this of right now are going to be into that and interested in it, and I get that.
I don't think they will be.
You don't think kids are that interested that it's a video game?
In the way it's presented in this movie, I don't think so.
No, the way it's presented is not very fun because they talk about algorithms too much.
Well, so I feel like all the video game talk, it sounds like the screenwriter of this movie has a son or daughter who plays a ton of video games. And then they're like, yeah, let's do, what are those called? Video games in this.
This is the kind of part where I just felt like I was out of touch. Because maybe kids are that into it. We're literally watching a TV show called Mythic Quest about video games, and all of the people who are streamers in that show are children. Like, it's a joke that just children are interested in playing those, like live streaming video games where people play other people. I think that is a real thing, and kids are interested in that.
I agree with everything you said. What I'm trying to say, though, is it sounds like someone who wrote this is someone who doesn't play games or knows much about video games.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. I can't speak to that.
It just is like, what? And it's like the same thing when they keep saying algorithm in this movie. It's like they use it as like just something to cover up something they don't want to discuss. They just say, "Oh, the algorithm, this or the It's like, okay, we get it. You think that kids think video games are cool, and they do, but you like, have you ever played one? It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's how it feels to me.
Okay.
But it is just so less dramatic that at the end of this, LeBron just gets a little boost and dunks. I just think
his
of
son
like
helps him, Micah.
Yeah,
they work together.
Like it's not like Looney related. It's not really. But
no, it's not, because in the last movie, Michael Jordan stretched his arm.
I know that was just such a fun moment,
yeah.
and this is like not even close to as cool.
No.
And then Bugs Bunny dies.
Yeah, he has to do this move
folks.
To make the game glitch, and that's the only way they can win. So Bugs sacrifices himself, and it was just like, what? Okay. So he does it, they win, he's glitching, and it's just like he dies. Yeah, and the last thing he says is, "That's all, folks." I can't say that word. But it was just like, really? Okay. Obviously he doesn't die. He like for some reason somehow shows up in the real world.
Yeah.
Which I know in the last movie they did, but like it was just, there was nothing. Like the movie tried to explain so much, and at the end of the movie they're not going to explain that.
Like the other movie gets away with a lot because they don't try to explain stuff, but this movie it's like
literally came out of a hole. The center of the earth is Looney Tune World.
And
that's all I need.
Exactly. And this movie's kind of like, you provided us so much information, and yet you're making things so inexplicable. Really don't like it. Least favorite movie of the year so far. I put it under The Little Things on my list of 2021 releases.
Huh.
I liked The Little Things with Jared Leto more than this movie.
Yeah.
But hey, if you liked it, that's cool. That's just our thoughts and opinions.
If you watched it.
Yeah.
I had a tiny bit of fun, and I think LeBron had fun too. And you know what? I don't know what his personal life is like, But maybe he just needed to have some fun.
Yeah. But it was the kind of movie for me that I thought, like, yeah, this is why people say things like film is dying. That's how I felt afterward. You know, it's like, oh, I need to watch an old movie because, or like I need to watch like Parasite or something that's has meat to it, because this is like, oh man.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed our episode.
I'm done talking about it. It's so hot in this room right now. I
know. Next month we're gonna do Kill Bill Volume 1. So new little MPU series, and that'll be fun. We love those movies.
It will be fun. Blood will be spraying.
Sprang? Huh.
Spraying?
Sprung?
No, spraying.
What is it? Really?
You don't remember?
No?
That person gets their arm cut off. And
yeah, but the word sprang?
Spraying. Goodbye.